Hello everyone, you are welcome to Living a Full Life Forum. At Living a Full Life Forum, our vision is a society of women, men and families who have healthy souls and emotional stability, who are living fulfilled lives and reaching their highest potential in life. That is what we aspire for at Living a Full Life Forum, and that is what we wish for each and every one of you. I am your host, Dr. Violet Kayom. Out here, it is very beautiful. It is a bright afternoon. The morning was very cloudy and foggy and, with this dull atmosphere. And you'd think that life would be like that. But now I can see the beautiful sun rays hitting the whole environment and it's bright again. And so I want to assure you that no matter what situation you're going through, no matter how dark it may appear, no matter how difficult and foggy, just know it's a matter of time. There is no situation that is permanent, and soon the sun will be out over every situation you're going through. And so I encourage you to take heart. Keep in there. Do not give up. There is hope for you. Yes, so this is our second episode of Living a Full Life Forum, and today's topic is something that is really fundamental to our values at Living a Full Life Forum. And the topic is quite unique and it is interesting, okay? So it is called Being Uniquely You. Our topic for today is Being Uniquely You. You see, I have this beautiful flower here. Now, your uniqueness and originality is the glow around your life that makes you very attractive and valuable. Okay? It's just like this flower. When you look at the beautiful yellow petals and the inside red, it is a center of attraction because of, this beauty of the color. And so the bees are attracted and I am attracted to, and that is why my room is decorated with, with flowers. I love flowers. And so that is what it is like when you choose to step in your position of being unique and original and being yourself. Now, we are in a world where there's so many forces that are pushing in every direction to set you out of your position. And the one that sets you out of your position then gains power over you. And that is why it's important for us to take note of this topic and really pay attention, because the moment you know how unique you are and how original you are, you will choose to stay in your position. And that is the position that gives you a lot of power. Okay, so we'll go to the meat of the matter. Okay, so you see, your ability to remain unique and embrace yourself and accept yourself is like a nutrient or a substrate that makes your soul grow, makes it mature, and makes it have stamina or stability that keeps you protected from all the soul wounds that would occur in your life. You see, there's so many arrows shot at us, as we grow up through toxic words, dysfunctional relationships, and all kinds of circumstances that we go through. And the soul is very prone to getting, hit at and forming wounds, which end up affecting us a lot. Now, when you have that awareness of accepting yourself, accepting your uniqueness and originality, it kind of like forms a shade around you. It forms a buffer or a wall of covering that protects you from those arrows that are shot at you from every direction. And that is very fundamental to the health of your soul. Okay? Like I told you before, Living a Full Life Forum emphasizes the health of your soul. And we look at the parts of the soul that include the emotions, your mind, okay, your thoughts and all that, and then your will. And so today I'll divide the presentation into 3 parts. The first thing we are going to look at is what does it exactly mean by being uniquely you? By having self-acceptance. What is the meaning of that? Number 2, we'll look at why is it important for us to nurture that? And then the third, we'll briefly tackle, how we can do that. Okay, so let us go to the meaning. Okay, what does it mean to be uniquely you? So this is really a form of self-acceptance. It is an awareness in you that you have both positive and negative attributes, and you are willing to embrace all that and accept them. Well knowing that every human being has those positive and negatives, and yet we can always improve all of them. So we don't look to the other side of the river or to the other side of the valley for something better. We are able to realize that we have been made unique and special, and so we make the best out of it. Okay? And it's extremely important, that we have our soul well fed with that, because then it protects us from all kinds of, emotional wounds that would come our way. It is interesting to see how many forces, are always at work to displace us from our real, space in life, our originality and our uniqueness, and how the forces start so early. I had an experience with my little niece who was about 5 years old. One day she woke up and she was so grumpy and just didn't want to get out of the house. And when she was asked why, she was behaving this way, she said, well, it's because I am not beautiful like my sister. Now, this niece of mine has a black skin complexion like me, and the little sister has a very light skin complexion. So I do not know where she got that weird idea that suddenly she was not beautiful and she wasn't valuable. This is a 5-year-old. And so she was all in that low state because she felt that if she stayed indoors more, then possibly her skin would turn. Wow, can you imagine a 5-year-old now facing that? So, and that is the state, we are in most of the time, because the societies we grow in, or the families, we are brought up in, and all these society norms put a lot of pressure on what it's supposed to be right or wrong. And so you grow up with these values, and before you know it, your originality is being dented and tainted with all kinds of, thoughts and opinions and all that. Now, that is not a good situation. That doesn't give life to your soul. I also had, an interesting experience. When I was newly married, there is this norm in our culture. It's a weird, thought that when a woman gets into a family, there should be changes within the next few years. She should put on weight, and there should be signs that, that she's really being well fed. And so I had all these pressures around me. And in my naivety, I also sank into it and went on eating and eating, but there was just no change. And, it was always thought that, when the woman was more succulent and more, and, having a lot of flesh, then it is a sign that the man is doing a good job in taking care of her, and he's also rich. And, until one day I had to wake up out of that nonsense and, and really be myself. And it is sad because on one side, I'm facing this pressure, but my next door neighbor is being pressurized for having too much weight and being told to lose the weight amidst all, odds. So you find that we just have to learn that there are things that we can control and there are many things that we can't control. So we come from families and we don't choose where we are born. We don't choose the tribe to come from. We don't choose our skin complexion. We don't choose our shapes. We don't choose many things. And yet, these are things that we have to learn to live with, if we are to have healthy souls. And there are all these society opinions and pressures coming to push you into a different direction. Now, that is not good at all. So, being uniquely you is your ability to accept yourself, well knowing that you have very many positives, but also quite a number of negatives. And you just work with each to make the best of you, because eventually all these things work out together for our own good. Okay? So, we've tackled the meaning. Now, let's see why. Why is it important for us to come to the realization and the comfort and stability of being uniquely us? Lots of these things can really be explained from science. This brain of ours has lots of functions And there's some part of the brain that is really responsible for our emotional stability, our thought processing, and our decision making. Now, that part of the brain, you find that it does all this and enables you to be stable with all the circumstances you're faced with. However, in science, there is what we call the law of use and disuse. That the more you use a certain part of the body, the more that body grows or becomes big. The less you use it, then the less it grows. So it becomes what we call atrophic, something small. Okay, so when a part of the brain is receiving positive inputs from a person who has a high level of self-acceptance, and they have chosen to go the positive way, embracing their originality and uniqueness. So that part of the brain will end up receiving all these positive inputs and growing, and so it grows more and the function is better. Actually, some scans have shown that, the nerve cells end up growing more in those areas. However, a person who has low self-esteem, a limited, level of self-acceptance, and all these negative thoughts, you find that there are dysfunctions in those parts of the brain. Now, the problem is with prolonged exposure to these negativities, it kind of like affects the brain so much that now even when the person comes out of that situation, that made them think that way, they may still continue in the negative processing of their thoughts. Now that is extremely sad. And unfortunately, this is something that the slave masters have mastered very well, In slavery, in human trafficking, in colonization, there's a lot of mind control. Because they know that if they can control that part of your brain to make you shift from the position of believing in yourself and make you lose confidence in trusting, yourself, then they can easily control you. And when your mind is being controlled, you will bow to any powers. So they will shift you into that direction, and then they can now rule over you. And so even if you are not facing the overt slavery or colonization, you just know that there's so many people and so many forces around us that are more than willing to just dominate and to rule over you so that they can, I feel like, they're really up there. They're more important than you. Now, that state of the soul that is being controlled by something else that has been shifted away from its originality becomes prey to wounding. It easily gets wounded, and that is not good at all. And so that is why we are going through this a very important topic for us at Living a Full Life Forum. Okay, so one thing I want to tell you is that the best gift you can give yourself and give the world is the best you in your originality. Okay, the best version of you, and not a copy of something else altogether. One thing about life is that what is real remains real, okay? And it can easily be touched. When you move away from your originality and your uniqueness and try to be something that you're not, it's just a matter of time, and you will get fatigued, and it will show. Even your audience, the so-called people whom you think are there being impressed by you, they will soon realize that, no, there is something not real here, there is something fake. And so they'll get tired. And so the same people who seem to be cheering you up will suddenly be the ones stabbing you back. And so why should we keep running up and down to try and impress and do all kinds of things? Moving, from one, a level to another, trying to impress people and not being ourselves. We need to come back to the realization that we can only function best when we remain who we are. And so just like there are so many fingerprints for each and every one of us, there is no human being that will have the same, fingerprint. It is the same with you as in terms of your uniqueness and originality. That there is no one else who is like you. There is no one else who can do the giftings or the things that have been embedded in you best like you should. So even where there is a choir and there are all these different, voices, the sopranos and the altos and the bass, you find that everyone has to fit in their position. Even for the sopranos, those who are singing, not all of them may be able to hit, that kind of note, that, the highest note. So there will be differences. And so that is how we are all staged, that we all have different lanes that we are running. And if each of us stuck to our lanes and did the best in our lanes, then there will be no need for fighting and competition and all these things that will lead to the soul wounds that end up affecting our lives very much. Okay? And so it is very important that we know that how your gift manifests and the level to which it manifests will be determined by how much you accept yourself and your uniqueness and originality. Today, at my table, I decided to bring my clinical examination kit just to make some illustrations. These illustrations in terms of, how unique you are and how original you are and why you have to keep in your lane in order to function best. That when you cross over to someone else's lane, then you're actually removing yourself from a position of influence and degrading yourself. Okay? So, when you come to the examination room of a doctor, you'll find some of these instruments. Okay? Some of them may be familiar to us. This is an otoscope. Okay? I will use it to check your ears or to look into your mouth. This is a stethoscope. All of us know this very well. Okay? And then, of course, we have a blood pressure machine. So now, all these are very important for me as I take care of a patient. But all of them have different roles. And there shouldn't be any competition because I need all of them to work very well and for my patients to be happy, with the services. So when I need to take the temperature, I'll use a thermometer. Okay. So now, the stethoscope cannot start complaining that, why are you using the thermometer? Why don't you use me? Because I use the stethoscope to listen to your breath sounds and to your heart sounds. And that is what makes it very useful. So even if the stethoscope wanted to be the thermometer, it can never do what the thermometer is able to do. Okay, so now my otoscope, which is supposed to give me light so I can look into your ears and into your mouth, should shine bright. I don't expect it to start despising or looking down on this tongue depressor, which I use to look into the mouth, of a little baby. The otoscope cannot do for me what the tongue depressor can do. Okay, so the otoscope may say, oh, poor little wooden thing. What is your role here? But you see, when I need to look into that mouth, I will have to use the tongue depressor. The best that the tongue depressor can do is not to try to be like the otoscope. What it can do is to try to be as smooth as possible and to make life easy for me so that when I put it in the mouth, then I'm able to look into the mouth. Okay? And so that is how, we are with our originality and uniqueness. That when we step into the right position, when we step into where we are supposed to be, then we will function best. And that gives us room for influence. It gives us room for rising to our highest potential. Okay, so I hope we are together as regards this. So today we'll just look briefly at how we can actually now nurture this self-acceptance, because it's very important for you to display that uniqueness, okay, in the world that we are living in. Okay, so it is time for you to start having personal moments, meetings with yourself, and coming to terms with your strengths and weaknesses. The world we live in is so busy, and many times you are running up and down chasing this and the other and the other. And these are the same pressures that end up pushing us out of our real position, out of the place where we would function best. So it's important to have time to look at yourself and know who you are and know the kind of strength that you have and the things that you can do best and the things that you are not doing so well, the weaknesses that you have, and we work to improve those areas where there is need to improve. Okay, it is time to always appreciate yourself and develop what I could call self-love. It's important to have self-love because you see, it is what you have that you can give out. When you don't have self-love, you can never give out love. When you don't have self-acceptance, you'll find it very difficult to accept others. When you don't have, that ability to embrace your uniqueness and originality, you will not easily take criticism, well, and you'll easily be disturbed by all these negative comments. But the moment you have, a high degree of self-love and self-acceptance and the ability, to operate in your unique position and originality, then you will be able to, to rise, higher and higher. And the forces that come your way may not easily put you down. Okay? So have time with yourself. Make sure you have, a constant interaction with your internal beats, knowing, trying to know the things that put you off, the things that seem to worry you, the things that seem to, upset you. It's important to have grasp of that and realize that it is not shameful to have these, weak points. It's just that we can always improve on them. And there are many other strengths that you have that no one else may be having. Okay. Just like I said before, just know this world is so much full of people and forces that are going to be out there to try to subdue you. So even when there is no much of the slavery, the overt slavery around you, just know there are these categories of people and forces that will try as much as possible to rule over you, to try to dominate you, because there are way too many people, who just don't mind, their own business. They're always sticking out to try and, boost their egos by having control over others. And I know at a later time we are going to have extensive discussions on how to identify controlling and manipulative tendencies around you, or people who would want to just dominate you and to bring you down. Okay, so when we don't tackle this issue of originality and uniqueness, it makes us an easy prey, okay, for people who would want to come and control us and manipulate us. And now that ends up setting us up, for soul wounds. And the moment you start receiving these soul wounds, it may be very difficult to come out of it. And just like we discussed in the previous episodes, before long you realize that now, you are down and you're suffering from all these physical illnesses like high blood pressure, diabetes, cancer, and all that. And we don't want to go that way. And so just like I said at the beginning, that your life, your uniqueness, and your originality is like the glow, that glow around your life that makes you very attractive and valuable. And so just like this flower, you become beautiful when you remain in your lane and you do the best that you're supposed to do as regards your lane. And then you become a treasure to the world. And so just take time and hug yourself and thank yourself and thank your Creator for making you uniquely who you are, and tell yourself that you are a real gift, the best gift for yourself and the best gift that the world has received. And you are going to just make a big difference. You are going to become very influential. Okay, so thank you so much for being with us for today's episode. And of course, now this brings me to introduce the topic for the next episode, which you don't want to miss. And this topic is very fundamental also to your life, because we are going to look at how the state of your soul is going to make you very influential. Do we have anyone here who wants to be influential? You want to make a difference? I'm sure there are many. And so just be on the watch out. The topic will come out soon. The episode will be in the air in the next few days. And you just want to subscribe, okay? So make sure you subscribe. Make sure you inform your friends. Make sure you inform your family. They have to be part of this journey So as we walk your journey with you, please walk our journey with us, and we'll make the world a better place to live in. And so I thank you, and I wish you a blessed time. Enjoy it all, and make your life a better place and a better world.